Hello guys, welcome back. Please straight away excuse the state of me. The only problem with the Osmo camera is the screen is obviously so small on it that I can't tell the damage and how bad I look, but I know it's pretty grim. I have just come in from the gym from training and cardio, and it is also torrential rain outside, so please excuse. I hope you've all been really well. We're now into, I want to say, heading into week 8 of prep. So I have obviously missed a week of picking up the camera. I'm just actually gonna check this right now and see where we're at. Yeah, tomorrow will be officially week 8. But yeah, I didn't pick up the camera last week after the show because I just struggled to find anything like useful or valuable to talk about, to record. Obviously coming down from being away at a show weekend was like a downfall, so I didn't really know what to be chatting about and what people wanted to see. Now I did ask my prep close friends, so I have a close friend story on Instagram for anyone who is remotely interested in prep content, and that's kind of who I see as watching my YouTube, to see what you guys would like me to cover, if there's anything you wanted me to touch on. And the only thing I really got back was like a Q&A, to which I opened up for questions. And one of the questions that I got was asking about my highest points and my lowest points of prep so far. And getting that question, when I got it, which was the other day, I would have struggled to put my finger on like the lowest point, apart from I suppose the bits that I touched on early on in this series, which were like weight not moving and stuff. But then everything aligned this week in the least positive way and I am in my low point of prep right now. So I am currently dealing with a huge digestive issue again. This isn't supposed to happen in prep. This is supposed to happen after prep. I can allow it, I can deal with it. I can't allow it. It was horrible. We know, we've had these conversations, but I cannot accept it in prep. Yeah, we have been struggling for the past few days. I hit my lowest weight on prep to date on Saturday. I was into the 51s and I was so happy because things were really moving and responding nicely, and myself and Mike were both happy. And then my body stopped digesting my food, and it has stopped for kind of 3 days. I'm not going to go into too many details because nobody needs to know that, but basically there's like almost 3 days worth of food sitting in my system right now, and I am in agony, and obviously the scales are up, and yeah, it's just come to the point where regardless of what the scales say, I don't care, but I actually feel sick. Because if you think I'm having like 1800 calories a day, multiply that by 3, that's nearly sitting in my stomach still, or not in my stomach but in my digestive system. So yeah, it has been rough, and it's just so unfortunate because we are getting on so well in every other area. Like, I'm loving the routine, I'm loving my cardio, it's feeling fine, I'm enjoying it, to be honest. Training is okay, steps are up, everything is fine, and everything was going so well until this. So we're in my lowest point of prep so far. But what has happened, what has come from it is obviously I have been communicating with Mike. I kept him posted yesterday when it had been like 2 days of discomfort, and again this morning when nothing had really changed. And actually it's worth noting yesterday that I also went to the pharmacy and took tablets to try and help the situation, and it hasn't helped that much at all. So I kept him in the loop this morning, and he has come back with a plan of action, which is actually running a high day today. So I'm going to be taking you for a high day with me today. Everything has worked out well because it is Tuesday, it's a work from home day, so I'm able to actually prep meals on the go and update things as they came in. So yeah, I'm going to take you along for a high day. There are obviously some things that we have put in place to make sure that this high day makes sense for the situation I'm in. So we're increasing fiber, we're being really nitpicky on the veg sources that I'm using, so I'm only going to be having green beans and spinach today and going forward, to be honest, for the rest of prep, I think. And increasing fruit, as well as reducing protein down a good bit, because protein is the slowest digesting macronutrient. So we're increasing carbs, decreasing protein. I'm excited. It feels wrong, but I know it's right. So yeah, I'm going to take you along with me for this. So all I've had this morning is my squares bar pre-training. I was supposed to have my intra as well, but I just realised that I'd left it in the changing rooms for my entire workout. So that didn't go in, but I might make up those carbs in fruit today. So the first meal I need to have is my post-workout, which is normally 70 grams of cereal. Now, worth noting that actually after today, the cereal is going to be swapped out for whole foods. So we're going to be doing chicken, rice and pineapple, which I'm actually really excited for. It's funny because it was the meal that I wanted swapped out, but now I want it back in. So we're having cereal for the last time. We're having my Lucky Charms for the last time. And we're having 100 grams of it. Which again seems so wrong when I'm like, I shouldn't be eating more. But I know it is the right thing to do. I fully trust this, and I am excited for it today. We have a few extras and a few swaps in, so I will cover all of those as they come. So this is going to be a full day of eating. It's not going to be a usual day on prep. This isn't what my training days normally look like. It is similar enough, but there is more food, there are more carbs, and there is less protein. So let's make some cereal. Please excuse any mess you might see. Nick is also prepping at the minute. But here we go. We have our 100 grams of cereal. What I did decide to do is put some cornflakes in as well, because I'm conscious that Lucky Charms probably aren't the most nutritionally balanced cereal. So I think we went for 60 Lucky Charms, 40 cornflakes. These are Prozie's cornflakes that I got. Actually, they have raspberry in them as well. And then we have our protein. Normally I would have 35 grams of protein, but he's dropped it down to 10 because, as I said, protein is obviously slower to digest. So it's just to add a little bit, but I'm going to do 10 grams of this and 200 almond milk. Pop it in here and enjoy, and actually do some work as well. It is a good bit brighter now because the sun has decided to come out. It's not raining, which is good for me because I want to go on a big fat walk on my lunch break, because my steps are still at 12k today and I have less than 5 done, but it's okay. Work from home means more time in the evenings as well if I do need to get any more, but I think a nice big walk on lunch will sort me out. So it is time for meal 2. It has been 3 hours since I last ate. I am really hungry actually. The cereal didn't feel any different. Like, I didn't notice any more fullness after 100 grams versus 70. But it's just cereal, so it's kind of to be expected. So meal 2 is actually going to be another sweet treat meal. I'm going to have my oats. The changes here are it's gone from 60 grams of oats to 80, and then from 20 grams of protein to 10, so not that much at all. There's also a change in the berries and stuff like that, so I will show you those when it's done. But we broke our microwave recently, so we went to making oats on the hob, and honestly, I can't look back. It is so nice. You can make them so thick, so creamy, and it's just such a better consistency. This is starting to bubble now, so I'm going to take the heat down and finish cooking, and then I'll show you when it's done. So the camera's having a bit of a conniption, so I can't flip you around without showing like just the wall and not my bowl. But we are done. My tummy is literally rumbling. I don't know if you just heard that. We are done. We have our 100 grams oats. No, that's incorrect. I didn't do that. 80 grams of oats, 100 grams of berries. I've done a mixture of frozen and fresh raspberries and also blueberries, and 10 grams of dark chocolate. And I just know this is going to hit. Honestly, this is your sign to please just make your oats on the hob and let me know what you think, because I would have never even considered it an option before our microwave broke, I don't look in the microwave now for this ever. So yes, this is going to be very much enjoyed and perfect before my lunchtime walk. We're just going to ignore the fact that every time I pick up the camera my hair looks different. But I am obviously post walk now, so I still had the hair up. We have to have the hair up when we have the headphones on, because otherwise it's just a disaster. I look like Hagrid wearing headphones. But I had a successful walk. It was really nice. It actually ended up being so bloody warm, but I was too afraid to take off my jumper in case it started to rain. So just got an extra bit of expenditure and calorie burning. It is time for meal 3. This is my egg meal. I have been instructed to do it in kind of an omelette style, which is absolutely perfect because that is what I've been starting to do anyway over the past week or so. I've been really liking this meal in an omelette, putting the veg in, and then if I have my rashers, just having them on the side, or putting the avocado into the omelette as well. So there isn't a nice way to show an omelette or present an omelette, so please bear that in mind. We have 2 eggs, like 25 grams of egg whites, or 25 ml of egg whites, just for a tiny bit more protein. Spinach 50 grams, avocado 50 grams as well in here, and a small bit of salsa on the top. So salsa is really, really low in calories. It's essentially just like tomatoes and peppers, but just the tiniest bit, as well as my salt as normal, some water, and I also have 100 grams of berries with this meal. So I've just done a mix of strawberries and raspberries fresh, and since I missed my intra this morning, I'm having my electrolytes now with this meal because it's definitely needed with the situation that's going on right now to stay hydrated. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this meal. It is my lowest carb meal of any day, especially today, but I am looking forward to it. It's going to be really nice. So I'm going to dig in before it gets super cold and get back to work. So it is almost time to wrap up for the day in work and to get ready for meal 4, which I am very excited about. However, I am feeling very ropey now. The tablets that I mentioned earlier on that I got yesterday that weren't working are now very much working. So it's been a fun time. I'm very happy I'm working from home and my home is so small. Anyway, before I do go ahead and make meal 4 and show you guys that, I did want to kind of like answer a couple of more of the questions that came in the other day. I may also continue this video across the week still, because that was my intention at the start of the week. It was to post looking for questions kind of as I went throughout the week, so I may still do that. This day of eating wasn't really planned because I didn't expect it to come. So in the meantime, I do want to circle back to some of the questions that I got. And this question that I got was a great one, so I really did want to talk about it, and that is my bodybuilding pet peeves, or the things that kind of annoy me about the industry. So the first one is not a secret, and I am pretty sure I talked about it in one of my other videos, but this is definitely my strongest one and the thing that I hate the most, and that is people who are so obnoxious. Sorry, that's probably like terrible wording for me, but I don't know what other way to put it. So obnoxious about the fact that they're natural athletes. I know for a fact that I've chatted about this because I remember having this conversation. It does not make you better than anybody else. It does not mean that you have to work harder than anybody else. All it means is that you can get in amazing shape and you can complete a prep naturally and you can build muscle naturally, and you didn't need to reach for assistance. That's great. That's amazing. But that doesn't make the other person's experience any lesser than yours or any easier than yours, and that's the main thing for me. So that is a huge thing for me. Ranting and raving and shouting and screaming about how you did this and you placed and you came first naturally. You also cannot make that assumption about other people. When just because you are competing in an open show doesn't mean every single person on that stage apart from you is taking assistance, is using assistance. So you cannot assume. End of story. Thank you. very much. It just grinds my gears so much. Another random one that really irritates me is when somebody doesn't get the result that they wanted. We didn't get the result we came for, aka they don't come first or they don't place as well as they hoped, and they say, oh, that's just bodybuilding, this is bodybuilding. I don't know why, but it really irritates me. Like, I don't know. I think all of those things combined. I think saying we didn't get the result we came for, not my day, that's bodybuilding. I don't know what it is about it. It just irritates me so much. I mean, I've probably said these things. No, I haven't, but I probably will say these things down the line, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just like it's a real cliche kind of phrase to use. And on cliche phrases as well, peeled. When we're talking about like bikini girls, don't love using that term either. We're really going into it. I don't really have too many more in terms of pet peeves. No, I think the main thing for me is just like anybody who tries to carry themselves in a way that insinuates that they are better than others, or they have had to work so much harder than others. I just don't love that, because it should be a supportive sport. It should be people, especially females, like being there for each other, supporting each other, cheering each other on. So when people are very, very exclusive to others and try and put out that they are the hardest worker ever, you don't know what other people have had to do to get there. So I think that's my main pet peeve, is like, yeah, 100% back yourself and do everything that you're supposed to be doing, but you don't need applause and praise for it. The results should be enough. That's all. The main thing is everybody's prep is different, and it's what's right for them, and we should all just literally stay in our own lane, but also be supportive and lift up the others around us. So that was that. I did also get asked as well about my favorite glute exercise, because apparently somebody can notice a difference. This came from Erin, who also trains in my gym, who is also competing this year. She is a dream. But honestly, I really do not enjoy training glutes one bit. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. I think I just maybe overdid it when the Instagram workouts and the booty builders and the booty bands were a thing. I don't know. But I do not enjoy training glutes. I do also tend to have quite frequent niggles, like in my glute med and stuff, so that can like limit my performance and stuff. So yeah, that's another reason. But in terms of glute exercises, like, I feel like they're just ones you do out of necessity. They're not ones you do out of love. Like a hip thrust, I don't know if anybody's going to genuinely do hip thrusts for years 3 times a week and say that they love them. Kickbacks can be an absolute head melt, especially when your cable isn't available. But one I have been loving recently is a single leg press. So doing it on the more kind of like pivot press style leg press, so not your standard 45 degree where you tend to bias your quads a little bit more, but your higher up and wider stance, and doing a single leg press. That has been going down really well, and actually just the generic version of that as well. But once you have that higher and wider stance and really think about not coming down all the way to your chest, not letting your knees move over your toes, and making sure that you're pushing through like your glutes and the backs of your legs more so than the quads, I have been really enjoying those. So I would say, out of a bad bunch, that is my favourite. Some days I enjoy doing a glute bridge with a dumbbell as well, which seems a bit reductive, but actually not at all. It is one of the variations that I find I connect the best with my actual glutes and not just my back or my hamstrings or anything like that. So a really old school traditional glute bridge from the floor with a dumbbell. I have also been really loving doing those for high reps too. So I think the two of those will be right up there. That is probably no use for Erin because she is a wellness girl, so I don't think the dumbbells would do her. But yeah, unfortunately, like when you do train for a specific category, you are going to have to do things that you don't enjoy most of the time. With bikini, it's going to be you're going to have to train a shitload of glutes, you're going to have to train a shitload of delts. The delts I don't mind once my delts are playing ball and I'm not in pain, but the glutes can be a little bit of a struggle, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and start prepping my next meal, because there will be a little bit of prep time involved in this, because I have potatoes. I haven't had potatoes in a while. Again, another thing that I asked to be swapped out before the start of prep, but I'm very happy to have them back, and they are going to be back in my meal plan permanently, I think. Let me check that. I could be making that up. No, I'm not making it up. Yeah, I have a chicken and potato meal, and I have a chicken and rice meal now post-workout. So yes, today it's gonna look like 250 grams of potato, which is a lot. Well, it's a really good amount. 80 grams of chicken, so a reduction in chicken, again keeping the protein lower, and 75 grams of green beans. So I am going to cut up the potatoes, wash them, and put them in the air fryer for chips. I'm excited. I've been looking at Nick's potato meal for the past couple of weeks, so now it's my turn. The chef got a bit too hot in the kitchen, so the jumper's off. Literally, I change something every time I take the camera out. But we are ready. I'm very excited about this. Am I gonna spill? No, I'm not. We have our chips. They kind of ended up being a wedge, but that's okay. If anyone wondered what 80 grams of chicken looks like, it's this. A little bit pathetic. It's giving me peak week vibes. Except on peak week and show day, I was having 50 grams and 40 grams of chicken, so 80 will take. I am just going to pop some salt on this. Normally we would have pink sea salt, but they didn't have any yesterday, so just regular is fine. And again, just a tiny bit of low calorie sauce. I'll probably go for the 2 calorie barbecue with this. And that is going to be the meal. I do also have a fruit bowl, which I can have at any stage today, so I might have that after this meal depending on how full I am. It might be good just to help with the digestion, because yes, I do have the green beans, but it's also nice to have the fruit. They do offer some good digestive enzymes as well. So there, in that bowl, I think is 75 grams of blueberries, raspberries and strawberries each, I think. So that will be a really nice meal actually, or a nice little dessert. I do also have some fruit in my last meal too, so I don't really feel the need to withhold it until then. But again, if I'm super full, then I mightn't have it until later. But yes, I'm very excited for this, for the return of the potatoes. Okay, we're gonna make this clip short and sweet because we value our creamy time in the evenings. We have made it to the last meal. I did end up having the berries after my, let's call it my dinner, my potatoes and my chicken, because as much as I said, 250 grams of potatoes is actually a really good amount, did it touch the sides? No, it did not. But it is creamy time, best time of the day. This hadn't changed because obviously we had prepped, we prep our creamies the night before, we put it in the freezer, so we didn't change the protein, so it's 40 grams of protein and 250 mils almond milk. That's all that the actual ice cream is. And then normally I have 10 and 10 peanut butter and dark chocolate, but we added 10 grams in total, so 15 and 15 of each, and a few extra berries as well, so I have 50 grams of berries in here. I did decant it because I forgot to scrape down the sides, so the sides were still frozen, but that's okay. By the time I finish, it'll be defrosted and I'll have more. And you have yours too.
I do.
We're gonna enjoy this, and that will wrap up the day of eating just over 2,000 calories, I believe, which is crazy, but it was great. And in a much better place now, thank God. So we will check in the morning, proper check in as normal. It's Wednesday, so it's just a regular check in, it's nothing extra, and see what happens. It is the next day and we are, my phone is buzzing, we are back in the update house of my home house. It is my sister's steps today, this afternoon, so I came over to see her. It's crazy, like, she's still a baby to me. But anyway, I did just want to touch base again on everything that went on yesterday. Well, obviously not on everything that went on, you saw everything that went on, but how I got on in my check-in today, how I am doing today, and answer another question that I got as well. So yesterday was great in terms of like not feeling any sort of guilt around having the extra food, knowing that this was what was being asked of me and trusting that it was the right thing to do. And lo and behold, I was back down to my lowest weight this morning, which I was very surprised about because I was definitely still like quite inflamed through my midsection this morning when I woke up. It was more so like a more traditional bloat versus a build up, but yeah, it was still surprising to be back down. So I was 51.9 this morning, which we are both really happy with, considering the bump in food yesterday. That is where the positivity ends. Actually no, that's a lie. I had my training session this morning and I loved it. I didn't obviously, like, it was a tough session, it wasn't 10 out of 10, but what I did love was how my delts looked. I was distracted by my own delts from the first set that I did. Like, I literally sent a picture to Mike and was like, you're one set in and it's glutes. Like, I was doing abductions and I was just staring at my delts. I don't know if this is even going to pick up on camera. No, it's not. Kind of. But yeah, I'm just so excited for somebody who has never ever had delts before. It just really motivated me and made me excited to see what things are going to look like when we do lean down for stage. So yeah, it was a positive enough like body image morning and session, which was obviously so welcome after the last couple of days. But that is where the positive updates stop, because I've had no movement now again today and I am just back to storing all of my food in my digestive system. So it is a bit of a kick in the teeth. It is really bad. I'm trying not to stress about it too much, but it's really bloody hard not to, especially because I'm obviously home today, so there isn't really the distraction of like the commute, being in the office, being around other people who aren't in this space, who aren't involved in all of this. So yeah, I am a little bit gutted. In fact, I'm a lot bit gutted. I just feel completely different to how I felt earlier on. And it is annoying, but look, we can only do what we can do, and we can only just continue to hit our meals. My steps are done, my cardio is done, my training's done, my prep is done for tomorrow for the most part. When I go back to the apartment, I just need to do my eggs for the office tomorrow and get a good night's sleep as much as I can when I'm going to be up at 5 anyway to do the cardio before work. So yeah, like a good update, yes, but also a bad update in knowing that like if nothing changes between now and when I'm checking in or when I'm weighing in the morning, it's just probably going to be back to the exact same situation I was in yesterday morning. So it's a little bit of a struggle in that sense. But let's see what happens. In speaking about work, I did get a question about work and about prep. About how are you handling a new job in town and prep? So obviously last year, as I said in a couple of my videos, like the intro to this series and channel, and probably a few of my Q&As as well, or a few of my vlogs as well, is this prep is different to last prep. In that last prep, I was working as a PT and an online coach and a fitness instructor, whereas this time around I have a 9-to-5 office job. And my office is based in Dublin City. So it is very different in terms of schedule, flexibility, commuting, everything. Pretty much in every single way it could be different, it's different. So it has been an experience, but it's actually been fine, to be honest, because with not being in charge of my own schedule, with not having the flexibility and the ability to take it easy on myself, I have had to find a routine and stick to that routine. Otherwise, I won't get the things done and I won't be happy in myself. So it was a benefit in that way. So I know what my training days are going to be every single week, unless there's like a bank holiday or I have holidays off, days off leave. I know when I'm going to be training and what I'm going to be training. It's the exact same every week. It is 4 days a week, as I said in my previous videos, whereas last year I did 5 days a week. It's now 4 because I'm in the office the other 3 days of the week. I do have to get up earlier now, especially on my office days because of the commute, and doing my cardio fasted in the morning in the gym means that it just does add on that little bit extra time. So I know without fail I have to be up between, depending on if I'm in the office or not, between 5 and like 5:20, whereas last year like I would have been starting at different times every day. My training days would probably change as well, a little bit more flexibility and leniency there, but now it is regimented. I don't think anything has changed in terms of like how prepped I have to be. If I'm in the office, I have to bring all my meals with me. If I was in the gym, I'd have to bring all my meals with me. So that doesn't really change. What does change is just the hours that I'm away from home. So as a PT again, I would probably try and, especially towards the end of my prep, finish up a little bit earlier in the day and do the majority of my work early mornings into the afternoons. Whereas now, like it's 9 to 5:30, I have no choice. And actually what it is getting the train at 7 a.m. and getting home at 7:30. So it's not really 9 to 5:30, it's actually... But I leave the house at 7:15. It's 7:15 until 7:30, do you know? So it's just the main thing, and the main way of navigating it and handling it is just finding that routine and sticking to it and not deviating from it. And honestly, that's all that I can say, and that's all that I can advise. The eating is fine. Like, yes, I am an odd one out in terms of like other people might bring breakfast to the office. Most of them don't. They obviously have their lunch at lunchtime at 1:00, and they might have some snacks here and there. I eat 4 times in the office every day, and I do think that people are still adjusting to it, and they do still like just not understand and look at me funny, but it's fine. It doesn't affect my work. I'm at my desk, like it's grand. I use my lunch hour to go and get steps, which to be honest I don't really need anymore. Like I do go over my steps most days when I'm in the office, but it's more so for my sanity and my mental health than anything. That's fine. It doesn't get in the way in that sense. It's not like I'm working in a lab or anything like that where you have to take your lunch at this time or else. Like if I don't have calls, I can eat at my desk. It's fine. And then I suppose obviously the environment is different. So the people around me, while some of them might go to the gym on a casual basis, you know, nobody around me is a competitor, is a bodybuilder, so it is very different in terms of the environment. And I have noticed that a couple of weeks ago it was affecting me a little bit, especially on my office days and my rest days, when I'd come in and I'd be having my eggs and avocado and strawberries. The people across from me would be having pastries and lovely oat milk coffees and go and get jellies in the evenings, which are my downfall, we know. That was getting to me a little bit, but then I also have to remember that nobody is asking me to do this, nobody's telling me to do this. This was my choice. I enjoy this. I will enjoy it at the end, and I can have those things again. So yeah, it's just reminding them as well to like not feel guilty for eating around me. Don't be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I'm eating in front of you or anything like that. No, this is something that I chose to do, so I am fine with it, as much as I really do wish that I could have the jellies and the pastries in the mornings. But yeah, the environment is different obviously, and there are always going to be questions too, which is nice. It's nice that they're interested, and they want to know more about the process and what's going on and how I do it. But it's just very, very different. So yeah, it's just a case of being absolutely solid in a routine. Luckily enough, like Nick is so big on a routine, even more so than me. Like I do give myself a little bit more time when I can afford to on the weekends, so I probably won't be up until like 7 in the mornings on the weekends, whereas he will be up at 5 every day, if not before 5 every single day without fail, because he just thrives in that. He doesn't like to go out of a routine at all. So I could be better, but I'm happy with the level of routine and strictness that I have in it. So yeah, that's kind of how I navigate it. Getting 2 early morning sessions in during the week on my work from home days, on Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 sessions on the weekends. Most of my posing then gets left to the weekends, unfortunately, because really when I'm in the office, I just, not to be that asshole who says I have no time, but I don't have any time. And yeah, everything in terms of food, timing, meal timings, prepping, everything like that is still the same, whether you work in a gym, whether you work in an office. It just means you have a much heavier bag on the train and walking to work with your laptop and your 4 lunch boxes of meals, but it is what it is fine. So yeah, to answer your question, just having a routine, and being in the industry that I am in, which is advertising, things are a tiny bit more flexible in terms of like, yes, I do have to be in the office, yes, I do have to work for a certain amount of hours, my break is officially at a certain time, but I can take a little bit of a license and eat at my desk when I need to, so it's absolutely fine. Do I wish I could work from home all the time? Absolutely. And I'm sure it will get harder and harder, especially as cardio goes up, but for now, all is good, all is manageable. So it is currently Thursday, the next day, and I'm just making my 3rd meal here, which is going to be cream of rice. I normally have oats for this meal. Sorry, I need to whisk it. I normally have oats for this meal, but with my digestion, what I'm trying to see is if this will digest any better, basically, than oats. And I'm just like deeping things today, and as much as I am stressed and I am a little bit freaked about the current situation with my digestive system and weight and stuff like that, I'm also just like, I realized today, like, I'm actually prepping. Like, I actually get to do this again, and it's so exciting. And I'm just getting moments where, I think I spoke about it yesterday, I think I did, where I'm catching sight of like my delts in the mirror, and I'm just so excited. Like, I just have this like permanent vein here all the time after I go out for a walk, do my cardio, do my training, and it's just so cool because it means that there has been a change since last year, and it's just sinking in that what I am doing is actually working towards being on stage again and getting to wear my bikini again and getting to do the whole experience and travel, and it's actually like, it's setting in. I gotta stir the cream of rice, but it's setting in. Exciting. Like, it is so easy to just put your head down and concentrate on week to week or even day to day and concentrate on the negative side of things if things aren't going exactly as you had hoped. But actually, I just feel so happy, and yeah, I don't want to say lucky to be able to do this, but I suppose I am lucky to be able to do this. Like, am I in the financial position to do this? Probably not, but I'm still going to find a way to make it work. So I'm not lucky in that sense, but that my body is receptive to it and I'm able to do it, and I'm able to make this choice to do a prep, and that I'm actually like 10 weeks away from doing it, and I'm so excited to see the improvements already from show to show. Like, I was thinking about that last night as well. Was the period in between my shows last season was pretty rough for me because I was so sure that I wasn't going to be what they wanted, whereas now I know that all of my shows are going to be NPC and I'm starting early, so the runway for me to make improvements between my first show and my second show is going to be quite significant. Like, I think it's 3 full weeks in between, if not a month. I think it's more, so I think it'll be 3 weeks and a peak week, which is new, and I really need to find a synonym for the word exciting because I've said it so much in this vlog, but it is exciting. So as much as I do give out, and as much as I have had like roadblocks, We're so back. Today was meant to be another office day, but I am in these four walls again. I was not feeling great again this morning, so decided that I couldn't risk the walk to the train, the commute, and the walk to the office. I needed to be here. So luckily enough, that meant that all my meals were prepped. So I'm just adding in my berries to this meal. I had the cream of rice portioned out. I had the whey portioned out for my paste, which is in here. I have banoffee cream of rice. This is my first time trying it, from Trained by JP. Nick said it's nice. It smells lovely. Very banana-y. Shock horror. I'm also doing an order at the moment of supplements because I've been instructed to get Digestimax. That is the only digestive supplement I am allowed to take from here on in. It's something that I've wanted to get for a long time and I just need to get it now. So I'm ordering that, but I also came across a few things. We need glutamine, we need magnesium as well, and vitamin D, but I also came across a cream of rice from CNP and it's like party ring flavour. So that's currently in my basket. I don't know whether or not I will actually go through with the purchase, but it looks really good. I've never had anything from CNP except for a pump pre-workout, which I got a sample of at the PCA British Finals a couple of years ago. It was like my first PCA show. It was so fun. But yeah, it really tickles my fancy, and their whey flavours as well for creamies. Don't tempt me. I will not be buying more protein because the amount of protein we have is absurd, but the cream of rice could be getting delivered to me. I also have a prep vlog on in the background. Always, it's a very, very, very slow day in work, so I don't mind having some entertainment on in the background. But yes, I am going to put the whey paste in. It's all looking very yellow, very beige. This is apple pie protein. Banana and apple with berries. I'm not sure if this is going to be just like overstimulation to the max or it could be really, really nice. I was also toying up with using this cinnamon donut protein, but this apple strudel flavour is amazing, especially in oats. As well as 50 grams of berries. I also have 10 grams of peanut butter in this meal, so I'll add that, and then that will be this meal. I don't know why you ended up getting an insight into my meal, but I did just want to give that like positive update, and this is something different to what I would normally eat, so let's see how I get on with this. Hello, you have joined me on the floor and honestly I think that's very representative of where we're at today. It is now Sunday, so I haven't touched base in a couple of days, but I did want to round up this video here because I do have it mostly edited up to this point and I am happy with it, but I obviously wanted to wrap it up. Thankfully there have also been some updates to share with you as well because I did my check-in yesterday as normal, so I will fill you in on that as well as answering one more question that I got. Before I touch base on the updates on what's been going on how I've been feeling, on the check-in of all check-ins yesterday, I did want to finish off the questions in this video with another really good one that I got, and that was advice for training when you're on prep and you're on low calories. This for me I do find a little bit trickier to answer because I can't remember who I had this conversation with, but I definitely had this conversation with somebody recently. I'm not sure if it was my nail girl who also goes to the gym with me. I'm not sure who it was, but basically I am a little bit backwards in that I actually find it easier to push myself to an extent and to progress training when I'm in prep than I do when I'm in an off season, especially towards the end of the off season. The reason being, there's such an expectation on you in an off season to obviously improve, progress, lift heavier, more reps, do better every week, every session. And there does come a point where it's just really fucking hard to do that, and the pressure is just too much. Pressure that you're putting on yourself, or pressure that I put on myself. But on top of that as well, is the chances are you're probably not that comfortable in your body at that point towards the end of your growing season or phase. And for that reason, it can be that little bit tougher to show up to and to really push. Now, I'm not saying that I don't, and I'm not saying that I didn't, but I do find that I really do hit a wall in the off season towards the end, versus when I'm in prep. It does, as much as it shouldn't change anything, I do find that it does just like re-spark the fire, relight the fire, and I am able to really commit myself and push and progress in the gym for the first probably like 75% of prep. And that has definitely been the case for the most part so far. For the past 8 weeks, I've just felt so much better in my sessions. Now granted, my calories haven't gone that low before now, so if I do experience it, I will let you know. I will experience it. But the main piece of advice I would give to someone who is struggling, because again, there was the latter part of prep where I did struggle. You are not building muscle here in this phase, especially towards the end, towards the second half of prep. You are not building, you are trying to maintain and preserve what is there and not lose it. So if you're going into the gym and you're not even trying, and you're like, I'm starving, I'm tired, I don't want to be here, and just going through the motions and not actually thinking about it or putting any intention behind it, you are not preserving anything, and you are going to put yourself backwards, and it will be a detriment to yourself, to the package that you can bring to stage. So that is the main thing that I would say, is just remember what you are doing, why you are there, how important this is to you, and the fact that you did decide to do this and nobody can do it for you, would be my main thing. And these are conversations that I do have to have with myself multiple times, in the gym, outside of the gym, whatever it might be. But yeah, unfortunately I am a little bit of a, I wouldn't say it's a rare case. I would say it's probably very common that people do find that like it's easier to push themselves in prep because they're seeing changes, and you know, as you get leaner you can start to actually see the muscle that you're working towards, that you're working to preserve and to keep and to showcase on stage. So it kind of does give you that little bit of an extra push where the food can't. But I think that remembering why you were there, why you were training, and needing to push through how shit it feels is also the main piece of advice I would give. So speaking of low food and being hungry, I checked in yesterday with Mike, and obviously this week has been a little bit of a special case. Last time I updated you, I did let you know that I had dropped back down to the 51.9, which was great. That was on Wednesday, but after that the weight went up again, so it was back up to, it wasn't as high, it was back to 52.1 I think, and then 52.2 when I checked in yesterday. So we did move up again, and unfortunately I have been experiencing like lower abdomen, like swelling, bloating, cramps, blah blah blah. So it's a combination of something undefined and something that I can't figure out what it is, because I do feel a lot better than I did last weekend and at the start of the week, in terms of regularity and all that good stuff. My digestive function feels better, but that doesn't explain why I am so inflamed in the evenings and still upon wake. It's very strange, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But also I am due my cycle literally any second. It was due yesterday, so both of those together are not a nice mix. So yeah, weight has been up, obviously. It was up significantly again this morning because I was in agony last night going to sleep and waking up this morning, to the point where I was supposed to do a posing lesson with Hannah and I had to cancel because I just had no control over my core. It would have just been a waste of her time. It would have been a rough session, and not in a good way. I want the sessions to be tough, I want her to challenge me, but it would not have been good. So yeah, unfortunately ended up having to move my session to next week. Now, with the weight this morning, I'm not actually tracking it because I was at home, so I used the fat scales. Which, if you watched one of my previous videos, I think it was like the second episode where I was like, I'm not losing weight. My scales that my family have at their house are the same brand, the same type of scales, but slightly different in that our scales here will always weigh or measure a little bit lighter. So I took the reading this morning with a pinch of salt, but regardless, I know that in terms of like what I saw in the mirror and what I felt, I was not happy with. So I am very, very, very happy that we made the changes that we did yesterday. And those changes are: cardio is up by a good bit. Cardio has been increased by 50%. So I went into the gym yesterday, did my check-in. I took my check-in pictures in the gym actually, which I will insert because I just feel a bit better about myself in there. There's more room as well to move around than in my bedroom, so I'm gonna, I think, where I can, gonna use that as my check-in spot going forward, because I'm gonna be in the gym to do my cardio in the mornings anyway. So for my midweek one it should be fine, on my weekend one as well. So went in with 30 minutes to do post-workout, and I left having done 45 minutes post-workout. So cardio from 7:30 to 7:45 yesterday, but we need to do it. It's literally called for. There is no talking myself out of it, there is no pleading. It's just what has to be done because I'm not where I want to be and I'm probably not where I need to be. So we're doing that. The first session yesterday was obviously quite tough. It was post lower as well, so that didn't help, but we got it done. With that, we did also take a drop in food as well. So rest days and training days. I had the last squares bar yesterday without even knowing it. Can we just take a minute? The drop in food now means that I won't be eating anything at all pre-workout on my work from home days. So my 2 sessions during the week, I won't be eating anything at all. So I'm going to make sure that I always have my creamy last in the evenings, but that the meal before that I have is like my highest carb meal, so that there is some reserves in my body. And then also I do have my intra carb too, so that will sort me out as well. It'll be fine, it has to be done. And then the other 2 days I train anyway, I can eat because it'll be the weekend. So yeah, we are sitting at in and around 1700 on training days and 1600 now on rest days. And like, I can tell that I will feel the difference on the rest days, definitely, but I'm looking forward to it. I need to feel like I am in prep. I need to feel like I am struggling in order to get to where I need to be. So I'm ready for it. That is where I'm at. That is what I'm doing today. I'm resting today. So this will be my first rest day on these calories. I'm 2 meals in today, so I'm gonna go and make my 3rd meal, which is chicken and rice. And for reference, the rice used to be 60 grams, it's now 40, so we'll see how we go with that. But I am gonna do that. The chicken is ready and prepped. I just need to make my rice and my veg for that meal, so I'm going to do that right now. Then I have potato and mince, which the other day I made into a burger and it was so nice, so I'm going to do that again. Again, it's so quick to make in the air fryer too, so amazing, so handy. We'll do that, and then we'll have my creamy, which I honestly dream about from waking up, which is ridiculous. Very, very happy we did make that purchase when we did. So that is the update, a big update, but one that is very much needed, and I cannot wait to see where we land even like a week from now. I really do feel positive about it. So I have my posing lesson rescheduled for next Friday. I did it for the afternoon. I normally book in for first thing in the morning, but I'm excited to see how I get on when it's not the first thing I do when I wake up, if that makes any sense. I don't know, it made sense in my head. You know, you've been up, you've been walking around, you've been training, you've done your cardio, you've loosened your body out. So let's see how we get on with that on Friday. It is super important that I do get this lesson in though, because I am hoping to get in for a workshop over the next couple of weeks, so I just want to make sure I'm in the best position possible before then. So obviously I will touch base on how everything is going next week again. And if I wasn't feeling preppy, I am now, because I just completely and utterly lost my train of thought. So on that bombshell, I am going to sign off, because you have been with me for long enough now for this week. Thank you for getting to this point. If you have, let me know if you have. And if there are any questions, anything you want to see covered, please do leave me a comment. It would be really nice to see some feedback, even if you're enjoying the vlogs, or anything you would like to see improved or done better, see more of, see less of. Let me know. I really would love to know. And I will see you guys again next week.